Content in this program will include discussion of residential schools and other sensitive subject matters. If you or anyone you know needs support, reach out to the National Residential School Crisis Line at 1-866-925-4419. To reach the Kids Helpline, text CONNECT at 686-868.
Since time immemorial, we've flourished on Turtle Island. This is our home, where we've raised generations upon generations of our children. Our languages, cultures, and ceremonies define who we are and our connection to this land. Great numbers of foreigners started arriving on our shores. Desires for furs drove them deep into our territories. Millions died through diseases that came with them. They also brought their system of education. All the while, our foods were disappearing and our lands stolen. We began to starve. Soon, their network of residential schools stretched from coast to coast to coast. We were forced to attend. They finally closed these schools in the 1990s. By then, generations of us had attended.
We are sorry.
We are still here. These are our stories. We share them with you. Who we are, what we've gone through, and the path that lay ahead.
Can we talk?
Because we are all in this together.
Because words matter.
Because words become agreements.
Become alliances.
Between people
and nations.
Because talking reminds us of who we were.
Two groups of people
who are willing to share.
Because words define our obligations.
And shape how we think about each other and ourselves.
And how we act towards each other.
As people. As a nation.
Because words become ideas.
And ideals. Democracy.
Inclusivity.
Canada.
Because talking tells us who we might become.
Groups of people.
Willing to share.
Can we talk?
Because talking matters.
Because words matter.
Because treaties matter.
So, can we talk?
Because we are all treaty people.
We're all in this
together.
A 150 years ago or so, back when Canada was created as a nation, the government decided that they were going to take all the children away from their Indigenous parents and place them into residential schools in order to indoctrinate them into the non-Indigenous way of thinking. They were going to do away with their languages, do away with their culture, do away with their way of thinking, sever their relationship with their history, sever their relationship even with their communities. In those schools, the children were abused emotionally, physically, psychologically, sexually, some of them, and it was very harmful to them. And as a result, a lot of young boys and girls from the age of 5 up through to the age of 18 were damaged by what those schools did to them. Some of the children even died in those schools. Right now, you have one very simple challenge, and that is we want you to treat every child that you're going to school with, every student, every colleague, every person that you meet in your school, like they're your friend. Reconciliation is a very simple concept, and it's about being friends and treating each other well and respectfully. Like the shirt says, every child matters. Thank you.
In the 1960s, I did the music for Where the Spirit Lived, which was the first movie about the residential schools. And I was really happy to be involved with this project because it was child-friendly, which wasn't easy to do given the tough subject. People forget Indigenous children were very highly skilled at surviving in the areas that they came from. Their families and relatives thrived in the natural world of their homelands. However, when other wealthy, powerful people wanted the land, they got the help of the whole system. That's why we call it systemic. The whole system. The churches, the newspapers, the politicians, even the army worked together to shove the Indians off the land. And then they said that it was for our own good. Well, it wasn't. It was just greed. At first, I thought that white people couldn't have known that it was going on, or they would have stopped it. But then I saw the newspaper accounts from the Ottawa papers, and they did know. The nuns and the priests and the ministers, the politicians, the Indian agents, they did know. And you know what? They didn't stop it. Well, I wanted to stop it. In a song that mentions the residential schools, I said, "And where in your history books is the tale of the genocide basic to this country's birth?" In the 1960s, you weren't supposed to say things like that, and a lot of people worked to shut me up. But I'm still here, and I still see a need for educating the world, to make it safe for everybody, for each and every child, in the home, in the school, in the whole world.
Reconciliation is a journey, not a destination. This journey will last for generations, and many things need to change along the way. From respecting each other to the way that we treat this earth, our futures are tied together. This means that the best hope for reconciliation lies in your hands and the hands of children who will be born in years to come. My own journey includes art and education. And that's why my family decided to make the Oaklands Totem. We hope that by sharing authentic First Nations cultural experiences in schools, this project will have a positive impact on the future of reconciliation. From selecting the animals to helping to carve, the students and I have been making a totem together.
This is the tools we're going to use. This is a stone hammer, and this is a chisel. And this is kind of a special hammer. It's quite old. It was made over 150 years ago. I'm going to help guide the chisel.
Something that led to this project is Orange Shirt Day. Because for the past 5 years, I've made an orange shirt design, and each year my wife Elaine and I go to our daughter Adeline's class to talk about residential schools.
Do you see how all these little tiny feathers make a big feather? And it's kind of like how we all as people, we all make one big, as long
community.
as we, community.
The inspiration that comes from talking with students leads me to want to do more. Because when I think about a future where the youth of today become the leaders of tomorrow, who grew up knowing about residential schools, knowing about the harms of Canada's colonial past and present, who grew up respecting the lands and cultures around you, I'm filled with hope for what this world can become. Wear an orange shirt, make art, be a witness, and remember to share these stories.
Danse. I want to start by thanking all of you for your support and efforts to help everyone understand the residential school system and its impact on First Nations. Today, we wear orange as a reminder of the many First Nations children who were taken from their families and put in residential schools. Schools where many suffered harm and abuse, and where many experienced loss of their culture, their language, and the pride in who they are. We cannot change the past, but we can all be part of changing the future. Education and awareness leads to understanding and action. So by wearing your orange shirt, you're showing that you're making an effort to be part of that change. Wearing your orange shirt today also helps spark conversations about the residential school legacy. By bringing these truths forward, we move closer towards reconciliation. The history and truth of what happened at these institutions is one that must be known not only by First Nations, but by all Canadians. On September 1st, Canada designated 2 former residential schools as National Historic Sites, fully recognizing the human rights violations that took place in these institutions. I'd like to introduce the next speaker, Autumn Pelche. She is one of our youth that is accomplishing incredible things. Autumn is a water warrior for our people who's advocated for the protection of our sacred waters. We must continue to support and encourage our youth to use their voices and advocate for change. I thank you all for doing your part on Orange Shirt Day. Egose, kanaskum tinawa.
I speak for the water. We go out and pray for the water because the water is sick and it's contaminated, and we just do the water ceremony to pray for it for hopefully one day that the water's clean. My Auntie Josephine always taught me about water and the importance, and she inspired me to do the work I'm doing today. I said, "I'm very unhappy with the choices you've made," and he said, "I understand that." And then I started crying, and all I got to say after that was the pipelines. And then he said, "I will protect the water."
People are awarding me for, "Oh, you're doing such a great job," but I don't want your awards. If you're gonna award me with helping me find solutions, award me with helping me make change. Nobody or no community should have to live without clean drinking water, because water is a basic human right and everyone deserves clean drinking water.
Mamawi Together is from community. It's an initiative that strives to bring Indigenous awareness and reconciliation to life across Canada.
When Mamawi Together put out their national challenge for schools to follow the Truth and Reconciliation's calls to action, we took the chance to move forward in our commitment to supporting our Indigenous community members.
There are 94 calls to action. These calls ask all levels of government to work together to repair the damage caused by residential schools and start the process of reconciliation. What can you do? Start with one thing. Learn from other groups, have conversation, challenge yourself and those around you. For some of us, change starts with our family. For others, it starts from school. It doesn't matter where it begins. We're never too young, too old, too educated to learn more. No one person can do everything, but everyone can do something.
We are challenging educators, teachers, students, parents, guardians, all members of different levels of government to step into and commit to the calls to action from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, as well as those from the Murdered and Missing Indigenous Women and Girls calls to actions.
Hi there, my name is Jasmine Smith. I'm a Cree First Nations trans woman from Flying Deaths First Nation. I'm also the writer and the director of I Am Me, the short film you're about to watch. My short film is about my life, my story, growing up two-spirited, transitioning, and finding myself through love, beauty, and art. I hope you enjoy. Thank you. I Am Me. The transgender community can have stereotypes of being in the club scene, partying, and escorting. The high rate of depression and suicide among us is alarming. Being transgender is beautiful. I am not a stereotype. Living in my truth is the best gift I've ever given myself. I'm a Cree First Nations trans woman. I grew up on Flying Deaths First Nation in northern Saskatchewan. As a little boy, I always knew I was different. I liked playing with dolls and makeup while other boys were in the mud with their G.I. Joes. I grew up thinking that there was something wrong with me because I wasn't like everyone else. My passion has always been beauty. Makeup has helped me transform into who I wanted to be, into a woman I'm comfortable with. It's given me a chance to express myself, to find confidence and love myself. It wasn't until I learned what being trans meant, where my transition began. I started hormone therapy and finally found a sense of self. Marriage came later in life. I met my husband in a jewelry store I was working in at the time. We quickly found something in common, making jewelry. We fell in love and eloped a month later in Las Vegas. After we got married, we combined our passions and I joined Grizzly Turtle Jewelry and Art with him. Soon after, we moved to BC to start our new life. I want to encourage transgender people to never give up. Find your passion, live your truth, and love yourself.
Every child matters. Those are really powerful words, but for a long time in this country, that really wasn't the case. Indigenous children were treated differently. Métis children were treated differently. In some parts of the country, they even built special residential schools just for the Métis. But more often, we attended day schools. There were hundreds of these day schools across the country. In these day schools, the Métis were subject to all of the things that occurred in residential schools. We were called names: savages, bastard children. As well, we were prohibited to speak our Michif language and practice our culture. There remains a long road ahead of us, but we have made up a lot of ground as well. There have been many activities across the country that have started really exploring what it means to be Métis. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce the next video by Wookiee Films. Rose Darling is an amazing, talented Métis 5-year-old, and let's listen in as little Rosie explains. Métis identity and pride has taken many twists and turns since our communities were founded many years ago. While we have faced many ups and downs, the future for us is looking bright.
Hi, I'm Rosie, and I'm Métis. Most of my friends don't know what that means. Here's what I tell them. The Métis people started when a bunch of guys called the Voyageurs came here to the prairies to work the fur trade. Along the way, they met the First Nation people who had lived here for thousands of years. They helped the Voyageurs in their travels. Sometimes the Voyageurs even married some of the First Nation women. Their babies were a mix of both cultures. By the way, do you know where babies come from? I do. As the little babies grew up, they found it hard to fit in. They weren't exactly like their mom or their dad. And do you know what they called themselves? Métis, which means mixed. These were the founders, the first official generation of the Métis people. The generation of my great grandparents. That's 7 generations leading to me. Not all of them were happy to be Métis. Actually, it's kind of been a roller coaster ride. So the founders had babies. These babies grew up to be the proud generation. They grew up really happy to be Métis. Sadly, after many years of fighting for the right, Louis Riel and the Métis were defeated at the Battle of Etoche. So many things they worked so hard to build were burned to the ground. That made their babies the defeated generation. They had seen their parents, the proud generation, lose the fight. Even though they loved being Métis, they stayed pretty quiet about it. Their babies grew up in a world where being Métis is a really bad thing. They were the shamed generation. Everywhere they went, people said mean things just because they were Métis. Not fair. And that's why the shame generation raised their babies to hide their Métis heritage. And this hidden generation got very good at hiding. Where are you guys? And guess what? They didn't even tell their babies who they were. Crazy! Mom, are you hiding anything from me? These babies are what I call the lost generation. Many of these guys didn't even know they were Métis. But thankfully, to my mom's generation, born as lost became the found. With some digging and excellent detective work, the found generation found out who we were again. Thanks, Mom. For the first time in a long time, many Métis kids are growing up proud to be Métis from day one. I love to play in the snow, do the jig. Someday my mom will teach me to be. Check out these moccasins my mom made me. So what's the lesson here? Knowing who we are and why we're proud of it makes us happy people. Happy people are nice to each other. And when we're nice to each other, only good things can happen. So that's the story of the Métis people. Next time I'll tell you where babies come from. It's really weird.
Why are you ironing your shirt, Spirit Bear?
I have to go back to court for the kids, Cindy.
Why? I thought the tribunal said the Canadian government had to end the unfairness.
It did, but a lot of children and families were hurt by the unfairness, and now the government does not want to pay the money it owes the kids and their parents for all the hurt they caused.
When you see something happening that's wrong for kids, it's your job to stand up and make sure that you do everything in your power to make sure they have a proper childhood. Hello, everyone. This is Spirit Bear, and my name's Cindy Blackstock, and I'm from the First Nations Child and Family Caring Society of Canada. Just call us the Caring Society for short. And what we do is we work with children and young people and families of all ages across Canada to address the unequal funding for First Nations children and family services. What can I do?
You can come with me to court.
We've worked in the courts, we've worked out in campaigns, and our message is this, is that every child matters and every child can make a difference in ending this unfairness. Just read Spirit Bear's plan, check out some of his book, or follow him at Twitter on @SpiritBear. And to learn more, watch some of the amazing films by this next guest, the beautiful Eleniso Bomsawin. And she recorded Spirit Bear and all the legal activities right online on her movie, We Can't Make the Same Mistake Twice.
I've been around for 52 years making films, so it has even nothing to do what it was like in the 60s and in the 50s. It's like another world. Nothing was easy. We had to fight a lot, and these are the reasons why I make the documentaries. Kanesatake, 270 years of resistance. This was probably the most difficult film I made, and because I was there the whole time. And to witness the hate that it created in the province. Don't think people are going to say you're great because you make this film. That's not like that at all. So you have to know yourself what you're doing and why. And no matter what, you're doing it for the people and for a better life and for people to, the government, everybody, to respect our people. Our people will be healed. When I made that film, I thought, what a gift. Quelle chance j'ai eu dans la vie de faire ce film-là. You see, we filmed 500 children playing the violin. Imagine that. So people are discovering how clever and how beautiful our people are. To have all these kids who want to go to school and want to learn from there, don't want to go to another school. C'est magnifique. So I thought, oh, I'm so lucky to have been able to make a film like that. For me, it's more than hope. It's much more profound. The changes all over the country. People are changing and are kind. There's a lot of good people everywhere. Those are the ones I want to talk about. Every festival you go to, there's a lot of young people doing things. I sit there, I'm just so amazed. And I say, oh, isn't that incredible to have thought of doing it this way? It's fantastic. There's so much talent everywhere. We are storytellers for thousands of years.
Knowledge keepers remind us that Indigenous peoples thrived for thousands of years on these lands before Canada became a country. Assimilation policies and residential schools inflicted terrible pain on generations of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis children, families, and nations. That history is Canadian history, all of our history. Everyone should know and understand what took place. Racist ideas about Indigenous peoples formed the basis for residential schools. And despite progress, systemic racism and discrimination continue to this day. We all need to challenge racism and injustice in all its forms. Orange Shirt Day honors and acknowledges the resilience of residential school survivors. Nous devons créer un Canada dont nous sommes tous fiers, un Canada sans racisme ou injustice. Every child matters, your futures matter, our future together matters.
This is the traditional hoop dance. Hope you enjoy. I'm really happy to come and share a little bit of my dancing. I made a choice when I was 16 years old to stop drinking, stop messing around with drugs, stop hanging out with gang members. I really wanted to explore the artist life, you know, like it just made me feel so good. It made me feel so empowered when I was putting my energy towards something that made me feel like it was making me a better version of myself, which is the dancing. So I decided to quit everything else that was negative in my life, and I wanted to channel that energy and just be a dancer. That's all I wanted to do. As soon as I made that choice to give up that negative lifestyle, good things just started happening. You know, I felt like Creator just started putting good things in my way, good things in my path, things that were never there before. Luckily, I was able to have some really good mentors, some really good people out there that just send me on a good path, a healthy path, you know? And I just want to say that everybody out there right now listening to this message, you are the future. I'm really excited to see each and every one of you succeed and be the absolute best versions of yourself.
the stranger. You can't see me. I am the stranger. Do you know what I mean?
I want to show people in Canada, I want to tell them this simple story. And that if Canada wants to really be a country, then it needs to include everybody. And it needs to take care of everybody.
Somehow the Creator put things together. It took 50 years, and it's come at the right time. What pain we went through.
My dream would be that this might help people, might give teachers something to teach our young ones. We need to recognize how kept in the dark we've been, how much we've been deprived.
I feel here, and here.
When you walk into a room, always try to leave more hope than when you entered it. And he did.
To stand up with Indigenous people in his last days. When I think about Gord and the gift that he's giving, it's a beautiful thing.
I hurt here, and here.
He wanted to do it in a way that was respectful to Chinese memory, to his family and his community.
He's done something very, very important to other people.
I live here, and here.
This next generation will be the first among us to really, truly know about our country's worst aspects. The first of our true Canada. We become who we've always wanted to be. We become Canadians, bent on love and trying.
I think Gord will be very proud to hear how much these children understand.
Here.
They're starting off early, realizing the problems that we have in Canada.
And if we continue to educate kids and adults all around the world, history will not repeat itself.
And here.
Thank you from me, Okapi Omani, the man who walks among the stars.
Our roots are deep. They are everything that connects us as beings. We are exactly who we are supposed to be. Sometimes it's hard to see. In a world that seems like it's going crazy, we face misplaced hate because of race. Yeah, maybe it's hard to find a level when you're stuck in the middle. It's hard to get ahead when you feel so little. I learned that love lives in the land and it's unconditional. The trees will always help us breathe and keep our lungs full. The sky will always rain and the sun will shine again. I want to know how to become this whole. I want to live in a place where we are all learning, where we don't need all the answers, just a strong yearning to connect and grow, where it's okay to go slow, just as long as we know where our home fire's burning. This peace within the land exists within us too. There is a world within us where we don't have to lose. When it gets scary, we can be our own sanctuary, a place to rest within our bodies and become renewed. We are enough to live in our truth, to feel curious and empowered. We have everything we need to turn the voice of hope up louder. So sing like the birds and laugh like the thunder. Fill your world with the love that this world has to offer.
So I want to talk about what we're doing here right now, telling stories through a screen. Back when I was a kid, a long time ago, the only people you ever saw on screen were in TVs or in movies. and almost all of them were white. The first Indigenous person I ever saw on TV was Tonto. Tonto was the Lone Ranger's Indian sidekick. He wore buckskin, he spoke in broken English, he was there to serve the white hero, Kimosabe, and he was a lousy role model for a little Indigenous lad because he wasn't real. But thanks to Tonto and endless numbers of imaginary Indians created by white people, generations of folks around the world have an image of what Indians look like and how Indians act. And if you think this is black and white ancient history, it's not. Stereotypes of Indians are still everywhere, on store shelves and sports jerseys. Stadiums full of people still dress up in headdresses, and lots of little kids still think the tomahawk chop is something Indians actually do. These stereotypes, they hurt. It's one of the reasons I wanted to become a journalist. I wanted to change the images of Indigenous people on TV. I wanted to tell the truth about Indigenous life in this country. I've told lots of stories about a dark chapter in our history and how it haunts us still.
I hated my mom for a long time for bringing me there.
Every time I remember that man that took my pants down when I was only 11 years old, go out and get drunk.
I've told stories about other truths at residential schools, like how hockey helped save lives.
I was beat up by boys in my school. I was sexually abused by a supervisor. I owe that survival to hockey.
Unfortunately, it didn't take me long working in a TV newsroom to realize news media, too, is full of stereotypes about Indians. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission said that's gotta change. Media have a part to play in reconciliation. Call to Action 86 said journalism schools need to teach Indigenous history and cultures so that young journalists learn how to tell stories about Indigenous peoples in a fair and respectful way. You may or may not want to be a journalist, but everyone tells stories. We're all posting stories using phones or computers. And if your stories are about Indigenous people, you have a responsibility. Think hard about what you were taught about Indigenous people and what was missing. Learn more about our past and our present. And take care with your stories. They're powerful stuff. And I know your stories can make Canada a better place for everyone. Miigwech.
The United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples is the most widely adopted declaration in UN history. It's about the survival, the dignity, and well-being of Indigenous peoples. And it's important for Canada because it's a solution to the legacy of the residential schools. This was a 27-year debate at the United Nations on how to, first of all, recognize Indigenous peoples as human beings, and then to come up with solutions to the challenges that face Indigenous peoples all over the world, including in Canada. For us, it was a violation of treaties that took us to the UN. And the elders, when they spoke to me before I left, they said, all we want is recognition, respect, and justice. So after 27 years of debate, the United Nations Declaration was finally adopted. And it's really, in a nutshell, a framework for reconciliation, a framework for not only restoring respectful relationships, but to have good relations among each other across this country. And that way we will have a better, more united, and stronger Canada.
I'm sorry I couldn't
couldn't pull through. You thought I was a baby, so you told me what to do, and I thought I could do.
Sego Gaundiu yung gets wagatahini da gaili na dugos liago. Hi, my name is Gaundiu. I'm Wolf Clan and I'm 14 years old.
Armor, 'cause the world ain't as nice as you think.
Recently, I've had a few exciting projects that I've worked on. A major role in season 3 of Anne with an E.
Dan tushu nimidudid. Hula wi kadikin. Kudubugu delta na.
I grew up surrounded by my family and my community. I went to a full Mohawk immersion school, Kuzesna Freedom School.
What you thought? I said, do you think that I'm just a baby?
They taught us our stories, our dances, our songs, and they did it all in the language. They did it all in our language. I was really sad when we had to quarantine, but I did actually have a late start to high school. I missed about the first month because I was filming Beans.
This is our road! Our road!
Beans is a story following a 12-year-old girl going through the Oka crisis. When I started filming, I knew that I wanted to try to make a song. It's a very emotional and traumatic journey. The song is about getting through difficult times, and I hope people find it inspiring and empowering. Yeah.
Danse. Asay na naskumano kamamo tpitsigit. Oto mabkakyo pito taigwak. Ego minange. Geteo. Kagi openache guspagan kiksepa. Wistomi naskumao. Ego kakyo mo tagakta batamek tamskat na gakyo. First, we thank the Creator today for bringing us all together on Orange T-shirt Day. September has always been a very rough month for all of us. And today, September 30th, I'm joyful that that month is over. And the reason for that is during this month, we are torn away every year from our families to have to go back into these institutions and experience the daily threat of physical, sexual, psychological, and emotional abuse. September 30th, September is gone. Let's all move on. When you get home today, please hug your mom, hug your father, hug your siblings. Tell them you love them because you have no idea what it's like to go through a childhood, never having been told you're loved. Kakiog naskumpno, aksanma. Hi.
I feel alive in my heart right now. There's a lot more I can give. I believe I can change your mind, so together we will sing. I know that we're all made different, but you and I are still one and the same.
We all have dreams and wishes, so take the time to remember our names.
Imagine life is like a roller coaster. The faster we go, the truth has to be told, so the hope is closer. I have a drive for success, so when I get older, I look back to those who let me lean on the shoulder.
I hope to give back, live and laugh, cause I care to see my friends being kinda make sure it ain't a rarity. We learn to be encouraged, so we can dare to be brave in our hearts. We wanna share the dream.
Just wanna say I love you. Oh, Shatan, you help me live and be strong. I'm not afraid to be a child of dreams, to
Sidigan.
Don't worry about me. Wagada Garide.
I am strong.
Je suis prête pour le monde. Je suis fière de mes rêves.
I'm a dream child because of you.
Niawazi Jakshiana.
Just wanna say I love you, oh, je t'aime. You help me live and be strong. I'm not afraid to be a child of dreams. To everyone that's helped them come true, I'd like to say I love you.
Talking about what you saw with a trusted friend, family member, elder, or teacher helps. If you or anyone you know needs support, reach out to the National Residential School Crisis Line at 1-866-925-4419. To reach the Kids Helpline, text CONNECT at 686-868.